Welcome to the channel, it's Kay, and I'm back with a unexpected, surprising part 2 to this battle of the bottles or whatever it is that I'm calling this. Now, hold on. Just because I'm back with a part 2 does not mean that this is a permanent ongoing series, because I do not own enough polishes to turn this into a permanent series. But once I realized how much you guys enjoy the nail polish comparisons, I did decide to dig through my stash again and see how many comparable polishes I can find. So we'll see how long I can keep this up for. If I do put out more videos though, just as a heads up, I might do that on a monthly basis. Now, just like in the first video, what I'm gonna do is swatch one nail polish first so that you get the full isolated experience of that one polish. Then I will swatch its comparable shade, and then I'm gonna do a nice side by side so that you can decide who is the winner or who you would buy. So with that said and out of the way, let's get into the battle. Tealing Festive by OPI. Kicking things off in the teal metallic shimmer category is Tealing Festive from OPI's Jewel Be Bold Winter Collection from 2022. Now let's start off by acknowledging the obvious, which you can see in this first coat, the opacity level. It is off the charts. You could absolutely get away with applying one coat of Tealing Festive if you wanted to, but let's backtrack a little bit and talk about the base, which is a beautiful teal color that appears really shimmery and very metallic due to these small silver elements that are blending in really well throughout that base. Now, if you've tried OPI, you can expect this formula to feel just as silky smooth as the formula we're used to getting from them. And at this point, you can better see those silver elements and how it gives the end look this metallic sheen to it. You might also be noticing some lines left over from the brush strokes. They're not super evident, but just something to be aware of with this formula. Solidarios by Bettina Cosmetics. Coming in to challenge Tealing Festive is Solidarios from Puerto Rico's best-selling nail polish brand Bettina Cosmetics. So starting from the ground up, we have a teal base that is extremely similar to Tealing Festive when it comes to that color. I would not say that it leans more green or blue to what we saw in that OPI formula, and within the base we have silver and teal elements running throughout, just like in Tealing Festive, but in Solidarios there is a much lower concentration of them. Now, Solidarios is also not a one coater by any means. I'm sure you recall that first coat being quite sheer, so this is one that needs to be built up. In case you lost track, I actually had to go in with 3 coats to achieve this final look. Here we have the shimmers sparkling as they catch that light. However, the metallic sheen is just not quite as present in this one as it was in OPI's. The end result is a bit more shimmery and less metallic, but let's see how they look side by side. We have Tealing Festive on the left and Solidarios on the right, and the first thing that comes to mind is the similarity in that base color. They are so close in that category. Also, note that metallic sheen in Tealing Festive. It's pretty evident due to the amazing concentration of elements in that OPI formula. While Solidarios appears more like a shimmer finish, you can see that the elements in that one look a bit more scattered. Let's talk opacity though. Remember that OPI is being worn in 2 coats here and Bettina in 3, so the opacity level in each formula was undeniably different. Planet X by Starly. Moving on to the black flakies categories, we start things off with Planet X, who has a black jelly formula that is very nicely fed with a really pretty mix of rainbow flakies in all colors that, by the way, also shift. I am seeing those greens shifting into yellows, the purples into pinks and blues, and the oranges into reds. So we're really getting all the colors here. Now notice the size of those flakies. They are rather small, but there's even smaller flakies elements mixed in there as well. So we have some irregularity in the size of those elements. Now, when it comes to the formula, it is surprisingly opaque in 2 coats. I can't see my nail line even though this is a jelly formula, so keep that in mind. This is not a 1-coater type of jelly in my opinion though, because there are visible streaks on that first coat, so you'll definitely need an additional one, at which point, if you're into visible nail line, unfortunately you are very unlikely to see that. Chemical X by Mooncat. Chemical X is strolling on through as Planet X's challenger, and this polish was a part of Mooncat's collaboration with the Powerpuff Girls, which I do have a review of if you're interested. And just like with Planet X, we start off with a black jelly base that is dominated by multicolored iridescent color shifting flakies, and there are 3 different types of holographic glitters, which you can't see if you pay careful attention because they're very small. It's those tiny sparkly elements that are scattered throughout the base. Now, although both Planet X and Chemical X have jelly bases, Mooncat is significantly more sheer. This is one that you can rock with 2 coats, but I decided to go in with a 3rd to really deepen it up. And at this point, you can see the small sparkly elements that I mentioned earlier. Those are the holographic glitters that really do add a substantial additional layer of color to that end result, something that Planet X does not provide us with, but let's compare them side by side. With a Chemical X on the left and Planet X to the right, you can easily catch the depth of that black color in Planet X's base. It almost doesn't even look like it's a jelly base because of how opaque and dark it appears on the nail, whereas Chemical X does have more of the black jelly appearance. Now, the flaky particles in Chemical X also appear to be larger and just a lot more visible, as is the sparkle factor, because we do get those 3 holographic glitters, while Planet X only offers us the rainbow color shifting flaky elements. Light My Campfire by Orly. Light My Campfire was part of Orly's In the Spirit collection for fall and the holidays of 2022. And here we have a polish that I'm just gonna have to use a bunch of words to describe. This is a very bright but kind of burnt coppery orange metallic that honestly also reminds me a little bit of a chrome finish. Now, I had also completely forgotten the fact that this polish is a 1-coater. It definitely broke the opacity meter. I would say you really do not have to worry about going in with an additional coat at all with this one. Now, like the Campfire, it does like to spill the tea and tell your nail secrets. This is the type of polish that will reveal any imperfections on your nail plate, and it will also preserve your brush strokes, meaning be careful with application and your brush strokes if you're a perfectionist, because it really puts it all on display for you. Honey Nectar from Koki Cosmetics. Koki Cosmetics answered the call for this match, and we have Honey Nectar, which also has that burnt orange color similar to Orly's, but this one also has some red tones. It's more of a burnt orange red metallic that also has a slight chromey vibe. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me here because from my point of view, I couldn't see the streak going down the middle of my nail that clearly needed an additional brush stroke, but for the most part you can definitely see what we're dealing with here. This could have definitely been a one coater like Light My Campfire had I been more aware of that streak. Now take a look here where you can better see what I was referring to earlier. Honey Nectar is giving just a slight chromey finish. And here we have Light My Campfire on the left and Honey Nectar on the right, whose orangey reddish tone is a lot more evident now that we see it next to Light My Campfire, which is presenting itself as much more of a true orange compared to Honey Nectar, at least. Now both of them had a really good opacity though. I do feel confident saying that both of these are one coaters, but you also have to be aware of your application with both formulas since they can be a little bit streaky. Crown Jelly by Starly. In the purple jelly category, we have our first nail polish, Crown Jelly, which was a part of Starly's jellyfish journey. Now, because this is a jelly finish and there's not much to talk about here, let's focus on the color and on the quality of the formula. I would say that this polish leans a bit more warm toned, and right away during that previous first coat, I noticed how there is a lack of self-leveling power. If you actually go back to watch that first coat application, I purposely went over a streak of nail polish and it did absolutely nothing to level it out. It kind of just stayed in place. I had previously described this jelly formula as being a bit sticky in one of my other videos because the streaks pretty much just stay in place even when you go over them. But again, that's really just a lack of self-leveling ability. Overall, the end result is super glossy and the color is very rich with just 2 coats. Royal Jelly by Cirque Colors. If anyone was going to answer this battle call, of course it was going to be Cirque. So let's start by describing the purple, which I would say this is just a true purple color. I mean, if we're gonna compare it with Crown Jelly, then in that case this one would appear to be more cool toned, but we'll see that comparison soon. I do want to talk about the formula because it's quite different. The first application here left me with no streak. This formula was able to self-level really nicely. However, the color is not as saturated as it is in Starly's. Now, normally I would wear this in 2 coats, but I did want to move on to a 3rd coat so that we can better compare the depth of colors and also how many applications each polish took to get there. Although remember that ultimately with jellies, it's always up to the user and how many coats you want to apply. We have Crown Jelly on the left and Royal Jelly on the right, and here's where you can see what I was referring to when it comes to the differences in the warmth and coolness of those purple tones. Crown Jelly appears to be more warm toned here, whereas Royal Jelly looks more like a true purple or even a cooler toned purple, at least next to Starly. Also, note the slight streaks in Crown Jelly that unfortunately did not level out. However, I was able to reach this depth of color in Crown Jelly with just 2 coats, whereas with Royal Jelly, it did take me 3 coats. I should mention, however, that Starly's version is one that I couldn't wear in 1 coat due to the lack of self-leveling power. Cirque's does a good job at offering that, so it does allow itself to be worn even in 1 coat. TLDL, here are the lacquers that battled it out in today's video, but I like to remind you that this video is not intended to portray dupes, just nail polish that are in some way comparable. I do have to say that Orly and Koki Cosmetics played their tricks on me because they looked really similar in the bottles, but they are surprisingly different when swatched. So I learned my lesson to not judge a polish by its bottle, I guess. Now, if you missed part 1 of this battle and you enjoyed this video, I'll make sure to link it in the description box in case you want to check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.